Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Yo, everybody, it's Heat Override. So let's get to it.
Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah. On another Heat-tastic review. Woo! Man, what a hell of a card that was. Burns versus Morales. Michael Morales getting it done the Morales kind of way. Wow. We'll get to that. But, of course, I want to just catch everybody up, talk about how we did, over the weekend with the MLB. Yesterday was a little cold, missed on pretty much Kansas City. That was pretty much my main stack. Today, everything's going pretty good. I had a stack. I focused on the Cubs, but mostly for my write-up, the biggest write-up, the big team that I had, other than my Dodgers, of course, was the Washington Nationals. So they were doing great. Hit a lot of home runs on that. Definitely got some money back for that. DFS is still going right now, but DFS looked really strong, being able to get all those players for the Nationals, talking about Abrams, and I was able to get Garcia. They were all like 3.8% or less owned. So, again, that comes back to it. Even Wood was lower percent owned, too. And he was kind of right there for the DFS slate, that is, on both FanDuel and DraftKings. So that was really cool. But the guys had that covered, too, also on the DFS aspect of the show. But, I just did the betting today. But we're here to talk about Burns versus Morales, right? So I went 8-3 overall. Of course, that's including the canceled fight, Bellotto. Oh, man. Look, it wasn't the fact that Bellotto I got a lot of my bets with him voided, won a parlay with him because it was voided, but they still paid out. But on the DFS side, I had him practically at 90% of my lineups. So 90% of my lineups did not get it. The contest start. And they don't owe us anything. FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever site you play on RT Sports, they don't owe us anything. We put the money up. An injury late happened, a medical issue, and Bellotto had to pull out. That was a huge. It was because that was such a big. That was definitely like one of those fights, like what we were looking with Morales getting a first round knockout. That's what we were looking at with Bellotto. So that didn't really work out for us. So 8-3 overall. And my 5-tastic picks, which became the 4-tastic picks, thanks to Bellotto. I'm not gonna let him off. I mean, come on, man. But hey, that actually fueled me for later. We'll get to that. And that puts me at 48-10 for the year. Definitely unbeaten week. I went 3-0 for the show because the Bellotto fight, me and Dan practically all the talk we did about it didn't mean anything. Maybe we'll get that going forward with Bellotto versus Craig. But as of right now, we both picked Ruzi Boyev, and then we were on the solid fence of the sides. He picked Yusuf and Burns. He really wanted to get the big money with Burns. He was sick and tired of just hanging out with this kind of regular money. And that was my kind of gripe going into this week. Is that last week I didn't really want to it was fun to win a plus 100, right? It was fun to win a plus 180. But then you see that, like, I hit a 5-leg parlay in baseball, and then on Sunday last week I had a decent day. So even though what ended up didn't work out, Saturday big betting day went off, great showing, and then the UFC took that money, played with the UFC, kind of had like the mud in the round doubled up only, and then I took that money and I had a decent payout for Sunday. So then the same thing as this one, started out a little cold, and then last night was completely awesome overall, being able to have that. So let's run through the fights real quick. Again, I got Davale. I had him winning. Bam, got it done. Connor Matthews, done, got with that. I had Pennington winning. Of course, I did mention that there was a prop out there that she could have got the knockout. She was close to getting a knockout. It's at some point, even in, I think it was like the third round, it was, if I remember correctly. And so, of course, Park, we told you guys to play the under on that, and I picked Park. I did have Hernandez for my DFS lineup. So even though my DFS lineups, I took a couple shots, and then Bellotto kind of was just the nail in the coffin for those. So DFS lineups, I'm not even going to talk about. It's not even worth talking about, honestly. It was just a bad week. It just that I had too much exposure to a fighter who didn't fight. Came up point short. You know what I'm saying? So get over there. I picked Camilio. He was dominating Gabe Green, but just like we always say, in this game, it doesn't matter how fast or how great you are. You could score a touchdown off a defensive fumble at the 1 as a running back, and you're thinking that your running back could score 2 or 3 touchdowns that day. That's going to be good. But then all of a sudden, he tweaks an ankle. He's out the rest of the game, and then you don't get no points. And that happens in DFS a lot, and that's just unfortunate. And you don't get any, if a player like that is part of your parlay, you know that just can't. That's why you have to cover yourself. I'll cover that at the end of this podcast. So we'll see how I covered myself. Of course, I picked Denise Gomes to win. I did pick Lisboa. Was trying to go with the underdog there. Probably shouldn't have did that. Santos dominated her. Just was younger, stronger, faster. Lisboa did well. She got points, but you got to get the wins. Of course, Jared Gordon on Moises. Didn't get that one, but hey, that's fine. I got Costa. Bellato canceled. Ruziboyev got the win. Santos, if you remember correctly, I did have Yusuf on my DFS lineups, but I also had Santos. And Santos really came through for me and everybody else. If you listen to the show on that, I just felt that he was really going to be cleaned up. And within the first round, I already knew the Santos that I need to go and look. That's Myron Santos, right? Marion Santos. That's the Santos I went. I could still want him to be a little more active, but he was landing his kicks. He did look great. And so we'll just go to, of course, the main event, Burns versus Morales. Burns gets smoked. It was fun to go over those numbers and then see those 11,000 odds go down to 6,000, 8,000 when the day of the fight happens with Burns, the knockout Burns in the 4th round and all that stuff. But really, after I saw what happened, because I got all my bets back from Bellato, and I had like 9 or 10 or 13 bets. I took all those bets and I just put them all on Morales knockout, round 1, 2, 3, and Morales by knockout. I just had to fight as a knockout as well too. I threw like 20 on that, and I just got a great return. Was able to pull a lot more money than I did last week out. Enough money to actually just not want to sit on. Pull it out, see what we can do with it this week. Hopefully hope for the best. I hope that all of you kind of took that into consideration too. Again, all of the tools I give you through my articles, the Fight Club of Pain, are meant to be like a puzzle. You have to put it all together. I can't put all of my information in one place because then that makes it too easy. You have to see all of our work. I mean, that's just way. If you're going to commit to me as a DFS/better, then you're going to commit to my articles too. And then you can only get that if you join Dr. Roto. We're using Cordwood Doc. You will get a percentage off your thing. Right now, I put a FanDuel lineup in the MLB DFS along with Lou, and I put another one in the DraftKings one for just the main slate, and both are cashing today. Now, how much money I'll win, I don't know. It depends on how these last few games end. But after it's all done, boom, I'm done. Won some money, took some money, win some more money, and start off the week just hopeful. That's all we do. Just start time. It's time to start building for football. It is, people. We got to start get that slow burn right now. The bots are up to us. They got it. You got to see a lot of trains in baseball winning. Of course, the one sport that they cannot train is the MMA because bots only know numbers. They don't know when someone clearly has somebody else's number. That's a hot streak thing. And that's something that you get when you follow all of us at drroto.com. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. So, that being said, of course, moving along. So, again, went 3-0, 1-2, canceled fight. That's how we do it. But man, you know what hurts me? See that UFC, that SiriusXM Fantasy has all this time, and they have all these guys talking about baseball and football, rightly so. Football is what makes it go round. But I really think that everybody's missing on the UFC. The UFC is such a fun product to get. And it shows yesterday when you have somebody like Camilio completely dominating somebody, and then he goes for a stupid triangle choke, and the next thing you know, it falters on him, and he gets tapped. That's on him. He can't blame the running back fumbling and the defense returning a touchdown at the last few seconds. That's on you. That's on your fight IQ. And as you've noticed, as me and Dan have talked about on the Fight Club of Pain, we have talked about fight IQ, how some people are smarter than others, being able to read fighters, and that is the coverage that we provide to you, all of you, at Dr. Rowe and through the Fight Club of Pain. And we hope that it works, and it seems to be working. At this point, it is working. That's all we got to say. So, for me, that's that's the key to that. And that's the difference from UFC DFS, UFC betting, switching it all over to just MLB betting in DFS and NFL betting DFS, et cetera, NBA, NHL. But it's more so like you could be so unique with baseball, sometimes unique with football. In the UFC, you can't. Literally, when Bellato went out, there was 78% of the people had him. But it was just a wash. It muddled the whole card. So everybody that avoided Bellato are practically the people that won the money. So, hey, that happens. That's why you have to have more than 2 lineups. And that's exactly what I had. Happens. So, the MLB bets, again, today, great. Got all through it. Close calls. I mean, man, I remember yesterday when I put that parlay, I put a real nice parlay in the subs only Discord. And I was like, man, I'm right at that point. Because after the Bellato fight was voided, they were offering me a 90% payout. And I was like, wow, man, okay. But I said, no, you know what? I'm going to trust. I had the final leg of the 5-leg payout was Michael Morales' first, second round knockout. So it was very easy. And it happened. It happened within, 2 minutes within the first round. So that being is that's why I want to get to this next subject before we get to, of course, going forward, UFC 107. We will have Blanchfield versus Barber. I already got it written up, literally. Look, yep. It's already written up. So, I got the coverage coming for you, right? And, of course, I want to remind everybody this Saturday, I have a tournament for my team. It is in my hometown, so that means I'm probably not going to be able to get my MLB bets article out on that day. If you get one, you're lucky, but I don't think you're going to get one at this point. Also, my Heat-tastics, everything will be out before that. So you're just not going to get the day of bets. You're not going to get me looking at the secondary lines that are coming in right before the fights, seeing if we should sway or not sway, or what we should hit, maybe change to throw in an extra DFS lineup, since it seems like a lot of the showdown slates, like the captain spots, happen to be on that day or maybe the night prior. So maybe that's just something we got to explore. But again, the Fight Club of Pain will be out, so you can just always go to the show that airs live on Thursdays at 7 p.m. on the Dr. Roto Network. Yeah! Woo! All right, but this is what I'm talking about, bets covering yourself. So last week, the bets didn't really do too well, but I hit a few good bets that actually covered, and then a couple double-ups kind of saved it. So I kind of just, like I said, just spun my wheels in the mud a little bit, nothing to pull out. The previous week, when we hit the plus 2,600 and the plus 2,900, it was again because of how Fight Theory was able to put everything together for us. What worked this week was, of course, once the DFS lineups were out, it was just going all in on Morales at the end. And that was a huge, huge, huge call for me during that podcast last week when I said Morales is knocking him out. You just have to get as many knockout props as possible. Well, before the fight went, I literally put 75% of my money on that, of what I had left. Of course, I already had the bets out, put 75% down, got a nice return. That's what you do. That's the kind of calls that you have to make. And that's what we are there for in the Subs Only Discord while it's live going on, that you can ask us these questions. Again, that happens with football. There's a lot more people involved in football, so that makes it a little bit, you need to get involved with the UFC. But also, so that means the bets covered what I lost on the DFS, but also covering being able to throw in that MLB lineup, just the day match only. I threw that in. I was able to return, say, 80% of my money that I put out. So technically, out of DFS lineups between and I'll be frank with you and frank and honest, between my UFC and just my day slate yesterday, I put out $25. I returned $19.90. And the bets well covered that because, of course, when I went all in with Morales' knockout, of course, that hit the parlay that I put in there. The parlay was plus 1,100 odds. So, again, we have all these parlays. We have all these bets hitting. We have the Heat-tastic, which became the Heat-tastic. Like I said, going 4-0, all the picks, 8-3. I don't even count units because I've been positive. There's only been 2 weeks. I've been 500 once. I was under 500 another time. And I think I was 500 once before. But anyway, I've also had a perfect week, and I've also been 8-4 and 9-5 and like a lot of big weeks. So we are up so many units, and that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to get through to everybody right now, is that we want to show you that we're more than just football seasonal, because we are. Our DFS team last year, Trevor alone took down, that dude was just smashing it all last year. Once he hit big and he could put out, and he had a bigger budget, he was able to cash in on a lot bigger games. And that's where it is that you have to be smart about what you play. You have to play the right contest. You have to play single entry. You have to play your cash games, and then you have to choose when you take those big times, those big shots. Because if you don't choose those shots at the right time, that's when you'll lose big and you'll have to build yourself back up. You don't want to do that headed into football season, especially at Dr. Roto. You want to be part of what we're going to build, and we need to build that now. And so that's why you're going to play a lot of cash games. And then eventually they're going to have a lot of the best ball tournaments. A lot of the millionaire makers are going to start going for the best ball during the summer, so you can win a $5 ticket for $1 or $1.80. I think it's $1.80, but it's worth a shot between 3 people. That way you get that chance. And since I've said this technique and everybody uses it, they just pile up a bunch of tickets and you go big in that first few weeks, because you don't get a lot of the bots have no information, especially week 1, no information. Again, last year, week 1, Tampa Bay killed it. Again, the Heat-tastic, my ultra contrarian show, going 19-6 overall. Just being able to put out and having 3, it was definitely 3 smashing weeks where I had slate slayers. I was practically in the top 1% of those cashing weeks. Again, this is just not going, this is what you get from me alone. And when you include what Trevor does, what Lou does, what Doc does, especially what Doc does with SiriusXM on the radio, which SiriusXM on radio, man, I know a UFC guy that you could talk. He's part of your crew already. Yeah. Woo! Get it on. Fight Club of Pain on the UFC, on DFS, on SiriusXM. Come on, man. Let's get it. But anyway, that's a wish. We got what we got. We love our show going with what we got right now. So, yeah, I'm a little jacked up, a little have fun. It's things. But that is what you do. You cover with your bets. You cover with your other sports. So when I win all that money, even though the DFS, even though Bellotto ended up screwing over a bunch of my lineups, I was able to return all of that by covering. And as of right now, my DFS lineups today, as I said, are already winning money. Those lineups were for free in the subs only Discord. If you don't want to go all that reading, get in the subs only Discord. You still get the Sunday morning show with Doc. Every single Sunday, you get Danger in there as well, too. He's crazy. He's always running the numbers. You get everybody, Chris in there, all the Chris's. You get, the list goes on. The list goes on. I can't just sit here and name, because there's so many integral parts to Dr. Roto that you just all have to see. And, of course, you get the IDP hero, Mr. Heat Override, Mr. Painbringer himself. Ooh, yeah. So remember, tournament Saturday, not much coverage. I'll be back to it on Sunday. And then for going forward, after this tournament, I will start rolling out all of my IDP coverage and rankings, because, heck, I think at this point, I've proven that the formula that we are making in the kitchen at the Fight Club of Pain is the perfect recipe to help you slay those slates again. Ooh, yeah. Have a great day, everybody, and always remember to bring the pain.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well